got to pay to play kind of
Yeah,
thing. And so let's talk about budget here. And
absolutely.
so what's a good starting budget for someone running Google Ads?
Yeah, absolutely. So typically, we always have a minimum suggested budget that we give most of our clients, whether it's Facebook or Google. Now, the biggest differentiating factor when it comes to allocating that budget for Google is that we have to account for a ton of different things when it comes to selecting that budget. So, of course, with Google, it is a software platform that is based upon a bidding strategy, which means that it's pretty high on the priority list to also account for your competitors. So what we like to do is we set a minimum threshold of really $500 is that sweet spot. Of
Mm,
course, we'll have flexibility and chat and see what the goals are. And we do have certain clients that publicize with a 350 budget, and they do get those results. But what we do is we typically suggest that $500 minimal entry. We give the ads some time to learn. And actually, one of the biggest determining factors for either scaling or decreasing your budget will actually be based upon your auction insights. So that's basically going to do what we do is we go in and we're actually able to see where you guys are placing in comparison to your competitors. So say if you guys are ranking, top of page with the current advertising, bidding platform that we have set up for you guys with a $500 budget. With that being said, you guys could honestly float at an evergreen approach with that same steady budget and still get a pretty good return on investment because you're not really having to worry about, direct competitors knocking you out of your place.
mm,
Now with the busy areas like LA, things of that sort where it's super compact as far as that population and competition, most of my clients will see that they have to spend upwards of $1,200 plus on Google advertisement placements in order to see that return on investment because they're competing against big box gyms, large franchises. It really depends on your overall goal as well because like I said, marketing is not really a cookie cutter approach. We definitely want to make sure that we're setting like realistic expectations. But as far as that entry, we'll say $500 as that minimal suggestion.
yeah. Okay. And so you talked about, depending on where you're at and our goal in mind here, sometimes you have to spend quite a bit to be in the running there.
Yeah.
I can tell you from the sales process when we're talking to new clients that come on board with us for advertising and they've had a past experience. It seems like a lot of those have thrown a lot of unnecessary money
Absolutely.
at that. And so, what do we do to make sure that the ROI is there for our client? To make it make sense, right? Like there are cases where you will want to spend thousands of dollars on your advertising, but not all campaigns are created equal. Not all
Exactly.
demographics are created equal. So, what do we do that you think is different than other impossible agencies out there to make sure that our clients are not overspending on something?
Absolutely. So one of the key things that we do, we operate off of a cohort process. This helps to keep things super organized as far as your optimization stages, which are pretty vital when it comes to really differentiating or determining whether or not you need to scale your budget or decrease your budget. Because like I said, we like to make super informed choices. We don't want to, throw random numbers at the wall. We like to make choices based off of that data. So that's where we really rely on, those auction insights, like I mentioned earlier, and those specific pinpoints, like I said, based upon your area, based upon trends that we've seen, because we work with hundreds of clients. So the chances of us running into someone who's
Mm,
probably been in your area is super high as far as us to have that, that test to go based off of. But I will say there's been a ton of cases where I've had someone come on board and they're like, hey, I was working with a previous agency and I was spending $2,000 and
mm,
I'm looking at their auction insights and they could be spending one fourth of that budget and still be receiving, conversions and leads. So that's why I
mm,
say it's always based upon, that specific client, their specific goals. Because with all marketing platforms, with all products, I always say what you get in is always going to be, what you guys receive. So if you're not looking for, 200 members a month, you guys don't have to be pumping in, the last of your marketing budget to, continuously have that engine oiled as far as marketing. I always suggest always stay within your budget realm. You don't want to be stretched thin because marketing, it definitely has its ebbs and flows. But you definitely want to make sure that you're always consistently pumping some sort of budget into your marketing, whether it's, $200 or $2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's definitely an ethical way to handle it, and I feel like we do a great job of consultating clients to make sure that we're tackling what it is that they need and what they want. So
Yeah. Transparent.